IT leaders are veterans at seizing opportunities, things like the end of support for a product. You're pros at using events like that as a catalyst to change course, accelerate modernization, or transform processes. Here's a case in point. Informatica has announced end of support timelines for PowerCenter and other core on premises products. Hey, everybody, I'm Jim Malone, Senior Contributing Editor at CIO Marketing Services, and I welcome you to this webcast brought to you today by CIO and KPI Partners and featuring a guest speaker from Snowflake. In this webinar, we'll show you a transformational pathway for migrating to an open, modern data platform like Snowflake. We've got KPI Partners with us who will show how their industry-leading GenAI assisted migration accelerators can help IT leaders migrate with ease through automation, reduced time and effort, greater flexibility, along with cost savings and innovation. Got a great session lined up, so let's meet our speakers right away. First up, a big hello to Shiva Molabanti, who is Vice President, Technology and Client Services for KPI Partners, our sponsor. Hey, Shiva, welcome. Thanks so much for being with us. Tell us a little bit about your role at KPI Partners and a little bit about the organization itself.
Hey, Jim. Thank you. Thank you for having us here. So this is Shiva Malbanti. I'm Vice President for Technology and Client Services at KPI Partners. KPI Partners is a Snowflake premium type partner. We help our customers automating their migration from legacy to modern cloud-based platforms like Snowflake using our generative AI-driven accelerators, and we do have code conversions and then automate data pipelines builder utilities that basically accelerates your pipeline modernization faster and reduce your cost and speeds.
Excellent. Thanks, Shiva. We're delighted you could be with us and really looking forward to our discussion today. Now let's say hello to Jason Miranda. Jason is Senior Solutions Engineering Manager with Snowflake. Hey, Jason, welcome. Thanks so much for being with us. Tell us a little bit about what keeps you busy at Snowflake and a little bit about Snowflake itself, too.
Yeah. Hey, Jim. So I am a Senior Solution Engineering Manager, like you said. I manage a team of SEs across the Southeast, particularly Georgia and Florida. And I work with our existing customer base in our enterprise segment.
Excellent. Happy you could be with us too, Jason. This is going to be a great discussion. Now, just before we dive in, a couple of notes for our viewers. First is check out that resources list on your player. You'll find great resources from our speakers today that you can download. Take a deep dive into this topic. You'll also discover how to get in touch with our sponsors through that. So we do encourage you to reach out. And finally, a big thanks to our sponsor, KPI Partners, for making this event possible. So, gentlemen, let's dive in with kind of the big picture. And Jason, start with you. Can you give us a high-level look at this situation? What's at stake for organizations who are involved in this, who are facing this transition?
Sure. The big thing is obviously that Informatica has put standard support just ended. So on March 31st, as you can see, customers now have a compelling event that they actually need to action upon, right? They either need to decide if they're going to stay on standard or extended support, which will then get them into eventually a limited set of functionality and a limited set of capabilities. Once you get into that moment in time, you're at an inflection point of what do I need to do? Do I need to modernize? Do I need to start looking at extended capabilities that I would like to have? And at that moment, it's not just a milestone, right? You're now trying to figure out what do I need to do to move my organization forward and determine how do we do that effectively, and do it as quickly and as cheaply as possible with little disruption to the business.
Yeah. Adding to that, what we are seeing across enterprises is that this movement is a strategic inflection point. So rather than simply extending the support, organizations are stepping back to reassess their data landscape and define a clear path toward the modernization.
Thanks, Shiva. It's interesting. We talk about complexity a lot as folks are going through their transformative times. When enterprises look at their Informatica environments, they often miss or underestimate that is this complexity. Now, for large enterprises, for example, with thousands of mappings, what kind of migration timelines are realistically achievable today? And in your engagements, what are the biggest surprises that you see during the migration assessments?
That's a great question. And honestly, this is where many organizations are caught off guard. When we assess large Informatica environments, we typically uncover hidden dependencies, undocumented logic, and redundant mappings. All of these factors impact scope and timelines. At KPI Partners, we address this early through our automated repository assessment. This gives clear visibility not just to estimate effort, but to simplify and optimize the pipelines. And now, in terms of timelines, what we consistently see is this: automation changes the equation. Timelines depend on scale and complexity, but from both a business and technical standpoint, automation significantly compresses the delivery timelines. The organization typically see about 40 to 60% faster execution with large estates completed in months rather than in years through our parallel processing. And with KPI Partners, automation led migration approach, including generative AI driven conversion and scalable execution, we enable faster delivery while maintaining the consistency and quality.
Shiva, one of the biggest concerns that comes up often is migration risk, especially around data accuracy and business disruption. So, in your experience, how do organizations typically mitigate that?
Yeah. This is one of the most important concern we hear. From business perspective, minimizing disruption and ensuring data accuracy are the critical. From technical standpoint, this is achieved through a combination of automation and validation. Automated conversions ensures consistency, while reconciliation and parallel runs validate the accuracy and maintain continuity. At KPI Partners, we address this with built-in automated validation and reconciliation capabilities within our accelerator, ensuring logic parity and enabling phased rollouts that significantly reduce business risk.
Jason, we talked about at the top of the webcast that, an end of support event like this, that's kind of the trigger, but there's lots more that happens afterwards. So if you're an enterprise evaluating their decisions to move to IDMC or to modernize on platforms, for example, like Snowflake's, what are some of the factors behind the scenes that should drive that decision?
I mean, the biggest one is always comes down to the value that you're getting from the system, right? So if you are spending very little money and getting great value, you should probably stay where you are, right? But if you're not, if you're looking to move into a system that's going to deliver you all of the capabilities that you need in a cloud native system, so you want to have scalability when you need it, you want to be able to have a consumption based model, you're going to do that and evaluate your options when you get to that point in time. Most of our customers really want to move towards an ELT approach versus the traditional ETL approach. And they do that with Snowflake and dbt and using, KPI's fantastic migration assistant to move that into that particular part of our platform is really what enables all of this. So when you get to the point where you're looking at this, you want to look at the value, you want to look at the capabilities that you're then going to be enabled on it. And then you want to have a system that you're going to future-proof with as well, right? Those are really the three biggest things that, drive our customers to, look at what they've done historically to where they want to be in, 3 months, a year, 5 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Makes sense. And Shiva, you mentioned automation a little bit ago, and that sounds compelling. We've heard, automation is a big use case for AI, for example. But in this case, where does it work best, automation? Where is human intervention still required in these projects? And what type of organizations or environments are the best candidates for this kind of automation-led migration approach?
Yeah, automation is powerful, right? But it is important to understand where it works best. Automation is most effective for standard Informatica mappings and bulk conversion, which typically covers the majority of the workloads. From a technical perspective, this significantly accelerates large scale migration. However, the human expertise is still required for custom logic and some edge cases and architectural decisions. And KPI Partners Generative AI driven migration accelerator automates this bulk of conversion to Snowflake SQL and DBT models, while our experts ensure accuracy and optimization for complex scenarios. And again, as far as the best candidates, organizations with large Informatica estates and complex ETL pipelines and increasing demand for scalability benefit the most. And from a business perspective, these environments also face higher costs and a slower time to insight, making modernization is very critical. But at KPI Partners, we use our accelerator-led approach is especially effective for these kind of enterprises where automation can significantly reduce effort, cost, and timelines while enabling smooth transition to the Snowflake.
Yeah, those are really insightful comments on automation, Shiva. Now, Jason, I'm wondering, beyond migration, which we've talked about so far, what new capabilities do organizations typically unlock once they move to Snowflake?
So, at the core of everything, we really talk about easy, connected, trusted, right? So and really getting a data cloud platform that is built for AI and ready to, take all of your workloads onto the platform. So for us, the way we look at it as this is one platform for your entire data and AI strategy. So that means all of your data. So if, as you're looking at the slide, so it's all of your data for all of your teams and all of your existing capabilities are going to work fantastically with Snowflake. Most beneficial to that is that you're going to get the benefits of the cloud, predictable performance and scalability. You're going to be able to deliver things to market much faster. And then you're going to get enterprise grade reliability and scalability and resiliency also. And that one of the things that we talk about with this is giving you the ability to have insulation from different outages and things around the world. So you can have resiliency across AWS, across Azure, across Google with Snowflake. But then at the end of the day, what we've noticed is our customers really want to be in a spot that going forward, they're enabled for AI, they're enabled for new data types, and they want to do it in a secure and governed fashion, right? That's one of the most important, things our customers, that's why they love Snowflake. What we are seeing though with KPI and their automated approach to this is that their customers and the ones that we've noticed this with already is they are bringing those workloads much, much faster. I mean, it's the numbers that we are seeing. 10 to 1 is not an unusual number for this. So if something took you 10 hours to do before, it going down to less than an hour with an automation, an AI-based automation approach to this is not unusual. And being able to deliver value much quicker when you do that is something that our customers are blown away by. And this is really, where we are now is much different than we were 6 months ago. And then 18 months ago, this was a little bit of a pipe dream at that point. And now it's the game has really changed when it comes to migrations through AI automation. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's in keeping with kind of the general trend that we're seeing in IT with AI. Things change so fast, so that's a point well taken, Jason. We've got Snowflake and KPI Partners here. I want to talk a little bit about the partnership and how you work together. So, Jason, let's start with you. Can you talk a little bit about Snowflake and KPI Partners' approach to data modernization?
Sure. So they've been a very good partner of ours for quite a long time. They, have known this ecosystem in particular also for a very long time. So not only Snowflake, but some of those legacy tools like PowerCenter, they've got teams that have been working, a team of people that have been working on that platform for more than 20 years. And so like Shiva said, they're able to, find all of those things that aren't necessarily apparent when you're starting to start a traditional, what would have been a rules-based migration approach. You go in there, you find some custom code or some custom SQL, and all of a sudden that project goes from 3 months to 6 months to, or longer, right? So KPI knows this ecosystem and they know how to move those things to Snowflake because they've already been doing this now for a number of years.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And Shiva, from your point of view, the KPI Partners' point of view, talk a little bit about how the partnership works together.
Yeah, sure. Adding to that, right, as a Snowflake Premier type partner, KPI Partners brings deep expertise in a variety of the legacy tools and modern technologies like Snowflake, along with our accelerator-led approach to modernize legacy Informatica environments or to Snowflake. And then we combine our Snowflake capabilities with our migration utilities, metadata-driven frameworks, and domain expertise to help organizations transition faster and more accurately and efficiently. And together, we enable enterprises not just to migrate, but to build a scalable, AI-driven or AI-ready data foundation on Snowflake.
Now, Shiva and Jason, to help our viewers understand better and actually see it in action, we've got a demo coming up, Shiva, that will show kind of how some of these concepts we'll be talking about work in real life. So, Shiva, let's go ahead and play that demo.
Yeah, let's watch the demo.
In this demo, we'll show how exported Informatica XML mappings are assessed, converted into Snowflake native SQL, validated, and deployed as dbt models. We begin by selecting the directory that contains the exported PowerCenter XML files. These XML files contain the full mapping structure, sources, targets, transformations, connectors, parameters, and dependencies. Before migration begins, the accelerator performs structural analysis of all XML mappings. It identifies transformation types, total transformation counts, logicality classification, lineage across nodes, dependency markers such as parameters or pre-post SQL. The system generates a comprehensive assessment report. The accelerator also generates a visual mapping graph that shows how sources, transformations, and targets are connected. Each node represents a transformation, and each connector represents the data flow. This view helps teams quickly understand mapping logic, dependencies, and overall complexity before conversion begins. This report includes manual versus automated effort comparison, efficiency projections, transformation level breakdown, complexity metrics. We see an estimated 83% efficiency improvement compared to manual conversion. The assessment can be exported into detailed reports, enabling architects and delivery teams to plan timelines, prioritize mappings, and reduce uncertainty before conversion begins. This early visibility helps teams avoid surprises later in the migration program. Next, we configure the Snowflake environment, including database, schema, warehouse, and connection details. This environment will be used during the validation loop. Now the accelerator begins conversion. The engine scans each mapping, identifies session variables and dependencies, generates transformation-level prompts, converts each transformation into Snowflake SQL. Each transformation node is encapsulated within a documented SQL Common Table Expression, CTE, preserving the original mapping logic for easy debugging. For example, source qualifiers become source CTEs. Joiners reconstruct join logic. Filters preserve conditional logic. Expressions map computed fields. Sorters and aggregations are recreated in Snowflake syntax. If a mapping contains 12 transformations, the accelerator generates 12 CTEs and assembles them into a single executable Snowflake SQL statement. This eliminates manual rewriting while preserving business logic fidelity. Once the SQL is assembled, the accelerator enters an automated validation loop. For each generated SQL query, the script runs against the configured Snowflake environment. Any syntax or execution errors are captured. Errors are combined with the SQL and reprocessed for refinement. The updated query is revalidated. This loop continues until syntactic correctness is achieved or flagged for review. If issues remain, the status is marked Needs Review, and actionable comments and error logs are injected directly into the SQL to guide rapid human-in-the-loop correction. This validator-driven approach significantly reduces defects, rework, and downstream risk before DBT deployment. After validation, the accelerator generates Snowflake-ready SQL scripts, DBT models for each mapping, required control tables, a fully structured DBT project. The DBT project is automatically created and deployed within Snowflake. From here, source data is replicated into the bronze layer using Snowflake Dynamic Tables or your preferred ingestion tool. The generated DBT models are executed. Data is transformed from bronze to silver and gold layers. This ensures the migrated PowerCenter logic integrates seamlessly into a modern Snowflake data architecture. Finally, teams can review validation summaries that show SQL execution status, transformation coverage, time taken per transformation, mappings requiring manual review. This provides complete transparency before workloads move to production. By systematically automating assessment, conversion, iterative validation, and DBT deployment, KPI Partners Informatica to Snowflake DBT Migration Accelerator reduces manual build effort by up to 80%, accelerates migration timelines dramatically, minimizes syntax and regression risk, delivers production-ready DBT projects with governance. For large PowerCenter estates, this can compress multi-month migration programs into weeks, while improving predictability and cost control. If you're planning an Informatica to Snowflake migration, connect with us to schedule a migration assessment and start with clarity, not complexity.
Well, that's really helpful, Shiva. Thank you so much for sharing that demo. Now, what's important with initiatives like this, of course, is that the business benefits that organizations can realize. We've touched on that a little bit, but Shiva, I want to ask, could you walk us through some of the key business benefits that you see organizations seeing and how these translate into real-world outcomes?
Yeah, what we are seeing consistently is a strong impact across speed, cost, and efficiency that organizations are achieving. And ba- so we see that there are like significant improving that organizations are the benefits what they're achieving is in 2 times faster timelines, 80% less manual effort, and 60 to 80% lower cost. And these are not theoretical. In biopharma industry, we migrated around like 1,200 mappings with 70% effect reduction and 5 times faster delivery. And in financial services, over 2,000 mappings with 80% automation and reducing timelines by 60%. These outcomes are proven repeatable and scalable.
We're speaking with Jason Miranda with Snowflake, Shiva Molabanti with KPI Partners. Gentlemen, we have a few more minutes left, and I wanted to pick up on a theme that's kind of emerged during our discussion, and that is speed, time to value. Jason, it seems like this is a kind of a really important driver or component. Talk a little bit about how customers are approaching you in your engagements about that need for speed and how they react to some of these impressive numbers that you've mentioned.
Yeah. So, Jim, that's probably one of the things I've noticed, since my tenure here at Snowflake. So, where I came from prior to where I am now, I've been here, for 7.5 years. Our customers want speed and they want more data faster, right? So that kind of keeping with that theme of they don't want less, right? They want more, they want it faster, and they want to be able to make those decisions and fail quickly, right? So if they're going to make a bad decision, they'd rather make that bad decision now and have time to, move on to the next thing or adjust and reevaluate their position. And being able to have an AI-based approach to doing these things really shortens that window down. So it's speed to a decision of, go, no go. And then for our, customers, they can all, once they have that decision, they can then, leverage the rest of the capabilities in the platform. But the most important thing is getting those, initial data sets there faster so they can decide, is this good enough for what we need?
Yeah. Yeah, really, really important. So, Shiva, thinking about an IT leader, CIO, who is watching us today, and they're just at the beginning of their journey for this. What is the best first step that they should consider taking?
Yeah, the most important thing is treat this as a strategic decision point and start early rather than waiting until timeline becomes a constraint. The first step is to gain clear visibility into the current Informatica environments, understanding mapping inventory, your core repositories and complexities and associated dependencies, which forms the foundation for a structured and phased migration roadmap. At KPI Partners, we enable this through a migration assessment powered by our accelerator, helping organizations define the right strategy, timelines, and approach to move forward with confidence.
Shiva, thank you so much. Unfortunately, gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our time for this session. A big thanks to our speakers today, Shiva Molabanti with KPI Partners, Jason Miranda with Snowflake. Thanks so much to both of you for your expertise and insights. Really, really helpful for folks considering migration with the catalyst of that end of support. So thanks so much. And of course, a big thanks to everybody who tuned in. Now, before we go, I just want to redirect your attention one more time to that resources list. You'll find a host of really important, useful information there that you can use to do a deep dive. You'll also see a quick start offer from our sponsors today that you can take advantage of. So we do encourage you to do that. You'll find that in the resources list, along with ways to get in touch with our sponsors as well. So we do encourage you, reach out, accelerate your migration journey. And with that, for CIO Marketing Services, KPI Partners, and Snowflake, Jim Malone saying, thanks everybody for tuning in.